Welcome to Welcome Home Doggy, a show that works to create a better quality of life for all dogs. I'm your host, Ariana Lasha, and today's guest, Marsha Panuce, is going to tell us about her organization, Donte's Den, as well as her show, Animal Outtakes. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be there for you when you need a friend. We'll be there for you. We'll be there for you when you need a friend. We'll be there for you.
Hi, Marsha. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
It's a great honor to be here. I've looked forward to this.
Us too. I know that you have an amazing program at Donte's Den. It's very unique, it's innovative, and we just want to hear all about it. So why don't we go ahead and start with you telling us, what is Donte's Den?
It's a slice of heaven for the dogs and peace of mind for all of the humans that come to us, the owners. Many years ago, I had decided when I was a little girl that I was going to do something for dogs, but I just didn't want to be a rescue because there's been many organizations around. Some do it very well, some don't do it such as good that we would like. But I just used to see other needs and I wanted to capitalize on those needs. So when the time came, after I went through my entire adult life building careers, I had a couple of businesses, sold those businesses, and then said, okay, now is the time for me to do something for the dogs. And quite frankly, on a selfish note, for me. And the way Donte's Den started was my husband had passed away 11 years ago, and I am alone. And I have many dogs that are my personal dogs. If I don't have a minimum of about 5 in the house, I feel like the house is empty. And I do have a large home, so they're not bumping into one another. But I had to think about what would happen to them if something happened to me. And I had to think about pre-planning. And so I developed the lifetime care program. And that's really the hallmark of what Donte's Den does. Now we're located on 50 acres in Mayaca City, Florida, which is right outside of Sarasota on the West Coast. And so I was able to purchase 50 acres of, as they say, pristine Florida countryside. And it truly, truly is. I mean, we're amongst lakes, ponds, beautiful trees, and just the right area that you could build a wonderful facility for the dogs. And so that's what I did. I started to build, and we started in 2014. We built in 10 months. I had a marvelous builder. And so we opened in 2015. Ironically, the very first dog that came in for us to take care of was named Donte.
Oh, wow.
So I felt that that was a very, very good omen that was happening. And so we started to develop the lifetime care program. When I use the word we, it takes a team effort. I might have the ideas, but if I don't have the right team to execute those ideas, then you're going nowhere. So I built a team of people, kennel techs, veterinarian technicians, and veterinarians, of course, because we need to all collaborate. So the idea of lifetime care is very simple. You can either pre-plan, if you wish to, for whatever's going to happen after perhaps you won't be here. But what we have seen develop is that people get sick. People have surgeries that go bad. Any host of things that can happen. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, wait a minute, I can't take care of my dog. I can't even bend over to feed them. So that's where Donte's Den steps in. And we have dens. All of our dogs live in 8x10 dens that are air conditioned. They have their own porch, by the way. And they're living large.
I want my own den over there if you can accept
Absolutely.
more.
And so what happens is when that situation occurs, or perhaps somebody passes, we get the dogs come to live out their life at Dante's Den. Now, when we do the pre-arrangements, we always ask the owners, would you like your dog or dogs placed after you're gone? We are full with our lifetime care candidates at this moment. Not one person has asked that. Why? Because they get the peace of mind. They come to Dante's Den when they can. They see their dogs playing. They see their dogs happy. In fact, we get comments like, "Oh my goodness, they seem to like it here a little bit better than home." That's not our goal. Our goal is not to separate you from your dog. Our goal is to make that dog feel so comfortable, no stress, no anxiety, and above all, no fear. So that when the time really comes that we have to jump in and take over and do what the owner does, then there's no stress. The transition is extremely easy. Now, to my knowledge, we are the only ones doing this. And I like to be innovative, there's no question. And I like to have programs work. You will never see a public service announcement for Dante's Den where the dogs are shaking and they're tethered and they're just a terrible mess, and it's just wrenching your heart. That will get money, but that doesn't do a thing for the dogs. Just doesn't even cover it. Wouldn't you rather come to see happy dogs rather than to see something like that? And I think that our concept has worked even better, because when people come for tours, and many people tour Dante's Den, um, they're very happy to leave a donation. Why? Because they see an exceptionally clean facility. Hospital requirements are met every hour of every day. They see happy dogs. They get to play with those happy dogs. It's a much better scene.
So would you say that you guys are funded primarily on donations, or how are you guys funded?
Totally by donations. Totally. We are a private organization. We choose to stay that way because we can do things so much quicker. We can make decisions. Our board, we can convene our board if we have to get something done. And we make decisions. We don't sit there and, think about it for 6 months or 8 months, and that we make a decision. For example, one of the recent decisions that we made was to take cats for lifetime care. And the program has been overwhelmingly successful. And the cats get their own den, and they have all of their own toys and their bed and the litter box and the whole 9 yards. And they're loving it. Most of the time we see them just kind of on their backs, just having a great old time. So we know that this program works.
And that's why I called you so unique, because a lot of organizations, they take care like in the now, and they want to provide things in the now, but you are like, let's think beyond this. When I'm gone, do I want my pet just to be spawned on a random family member, or what's really going to happen? And I want to make sure that they're getting that care that I gave it their whole life. So I think that's really beautiful that you were able to take something, this idea, and actually see it to fruition like that. Tell us about some of your other programs within Dante's Den, like adoption.
Well, we do have adoption,
Mhm.
and those come from either other shelters. But if we go to another shelter, we go to a kill shelter, and we get those that are on death row, as many as we can take that are on the death row, and we bring them to us. And boy, let me tell you something, they know that they've been saved. There is something about that. We've watched it over and over and over again. And when they come to us and they come through our front doors, and we're holding them and we're hugging them and talking to them already and telling them, don't worry, everything's going to be just fine now. they know it. And so we call it a joyful adoption. One of the common comments that we get from people who are adopting dogs from us is, oh, this dog is really happy. You know, well, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Not any other way. They're healthy and they're happy. And of course, in addition to the a joyful adoption program that we have, and I must say that Donte's Den is a sanctuary. And this is very important to know. There is a difference between rescues and sanctuaries, because as a sanctuary, we keep the animals. They don't get transferred out to any place. They stay with us for the rest of their lives. So if we have dogs that have come to us through the adoption program and then just don't get adopted, and you know, sometimes that happens, then they stay with us for the rest of their normal life and we take care of them and they have a good time. And sometimes if somebody comes along 2 or 3 years later and they say, well, I think I'd like to adopt this dog, it's kind of hard to break them from us to a home, because they have had everything that they need. We put couches in their den. Some have special chairs. They have beds. They have all the toys that they can want. But we're not against adoption. Of course, we're for adoption. But in that interim time, or should they stay with us for the rest of their lives, they're going to have the best possible life. And they also love to swim. We have a swimming pool that's in the shape of a bone, and it was designed for the dogs. So we have a very shallow end, and then the dogs kind of decide, okay, do I really want to go in? Oh yeah, this is kind of nice. And they start to walk and the pool slopes down. So this is how we teach the dogs how to swim. We're in there with them so that they don't have any panic. Steps are there for their wide steps so that they can get out if they have to. But we've taught many a dog how to swim and they love it.
They're at that hotel full of luxury. I mean, why would they want to leave? Let's talk about your other programs, like what that you have going for the military.
We're so happy to offer this. It's called Semper Paw. And the title comes from my husband, who was a Marine officer when he got out of college. So I felt in order to honor him, we should call it Semper Paw. And so the military comes to us as well as first responders. And as you know, we have disasters, hurricanes and a lot of flooding in our coastal areas. I'm sure you're aware of it too. And a lot of our first responders actually leave our Sarasota County, Manatee County area, and all the counties around, and they go to the area which needs to have attention and needs to have help. Well, they're gone for long periods of time. They could be gone a month, they could be gone 2 months. And so they bring their dogs to us and we take care of the dogs at Donte's. As the soldiers go to wherever their destinations are, we have had some dogs up there now for 3 years. The deployment is 3 years, and then of course they come back for their dog. We're very happy to say that all of the dogs that have been staying with us for Semper Paw, the owners came back. And we're so delighted that none of them got injured or worse, and they can't wait to see their puppy. And in some cases, they brought us a puppy. And when they come back, they've got a 3-year-old dog. But we have been chronicalizing their growth and what they do by pictures and video all along the way. So even though they can't put their hands on to the dog, they can certainly see the growth of the dog and what is going on.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And to be able to give them that comfort and just even like the updates and progress, like you said, even though they're away, they're going to come back. And it's good to know that their dogs are getting trained, getting good care, living in luxury while they're away. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how Dante's Den led to Animal Outtakes, or how did you end up pitching for your own show?
Well, I was very fortunate. I didn't have to pitch. I was the pitchee. We have an educational arm to Dante's Den. we try to cover the lifetime care and the adoption and the Semper Paw. We also have a full hospital on the ground. So we attend to all the medical needs that the dogs have. We have veterinarians that come and volunteer for us. We do surgeries. We have a full surgical arena. We have digital x-ray and sonogram. So there's very little that we cannot do. But in the process of developing all of Donte's Den, you need an education arm. We need to go out and teach people. And of course, we start with the young people from kindergarten on up. And we have a program where it's an interactive program where we actually bring some dogs in that can get along with everybody. They are not anxious. They're not fearful of children, because some dogs, can become fearful. And we bring those that just, they just keep kissing you and licking you, and that's the way it should be. So we have that program, interactive. There's a coloring book and a video and so on. But I have always been very, very fortunate to have a media career in television from the time I was in my 20s. And so I've had my own shows along the way. I'm from Chicago. And so I was in Sarasota County, and I had been on the ABC affiliate there, WWSB 40, for about, I think it was 12 years, doing stories on pets and doing a lot of interviews and a lot of special programs for the hurricane, what you should do, how you should pack your pet, and so on and so forth. And so the management of WWSB 40 came to me and said, well, we would like you to develop a television program. And I said, well, I think I can do that. Actually, they never really said program. What they said was, could you put something together? This was in September of that particular year. And they said, could you put something together and then go on the air October 1st? And I thought, well, this is probably a 2-minute, like a pet adoption or something like that. Oh, this is easy. Okay, I can do this, no problem. And as the vice president was walking me to the car, he said, well, Marsha, just remember it's 2010. And that was when it hit me. Oh, they want a half-hour show, 20 minutes of content, 10 minutes of commercials. Oops. Okay, I had already committed to October 1st. So I got into the car and I said, okay. And I started placing phone calls. And I was able to get people that had been involved with me over the years, and certainly over at WWSB 40. And I am here to say that we went on the air October 1st of that year, and we are still going strong 9 years later.
That's awesome. That's a success story. I mean, lots of claps for that. Tell us,
Yeah.
like, what is Animal Outtakes for those who haven't seen it? I'm sure we're gonna link some clips and everything like that. But what is Animal Outtakes? Like, what do you primarily do over there?
For Animal Outtakes, we try to find some very, very interesting people, but of course, it's all about the animals. I had originally said, I'll do any animal, interviewing, touching, doesn't matter. But I don't think I want to do snakes. Snakes are not my thing. That lasted all of one show. The second show we came out, it opened up and I had a 20-foot anaconda that I was holding. She didn't have a name, so I gave her the name of Alice the anaconda. What is interesting about Alice is that through the 9 years, we followed her growth, which is unbelievable. And we had her on the show, I believe, last year, and she had already grown in excess of 40 feet.
Oh my gosh.
And she was just charming, and I was so glad she remembered me.
Well, like life comes at you fast. You were like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
next before you know it, boom.
Yes, but the show is just it's just very heartwarming. We'd like to take subjects such as the manatees. The manatees, are dying here in Florida by huge numbers, And of course, first of all, you have to identify the problem and then you have to work to solve it. So we're working with several groups through Animal Outtakes to make the communities aware of what the problems really are, what we should do as humans. You know, as good as we can be as human beings, we can also be huge detriments. And to the manatees, we are a huge detriment. There's just absolutely no question about it. And there's simple things that we can do if we are boaters. Watch out for them. Don't go flying through. And there's manatee areas. Cut the speed on the boat so that they don't get caught up and they don't get by the propeller and destroyed. Of course, the biggest thing that we are seeing now with the manatees is food. They don't have enough food. The seagrass. The seagrass is dying, especially on the East Coast of Florida. The reasons for this, we investigated. And the reasons are we're polluting the waters. And so because of that, and then of course the red tide, which is something that we suffer from here in Florida on all of the coasts, is really hampering the manatees. So we take a look at sometimes what the immediate problems are. We do stay in the state of Florida because we feel that we have so much to bring to the communities and to the public that they never really knew. Elephants have always been a favorite of ours, and we were very fortunate to spend a couple of days over at the Ringling Sanctuary for the elephants. Now, this was before Ringling came off of the circus. So we were seeing elephants that actually were still performing. And we didn't want to get into a political discussion, you know, are they taking good care of them? Are they not taking whatever? That's not the game we play. What we want to do is give the best program, the best light to whatever the subject is. You know, and a lot of people ask me, Marsha, what did you really think, you know, off camera? I said, what I said on camera is what I say off camera. We saw no abuse. We saw elephants that were well taken care of. They were not abused in any way. And of course, when they take their trunk and they put it around you and they hug you and you get to kiss the elephant, I think it's just heaven. So we're able to bring those types of things to our audience.
All right. So I know we've talked about dogs, cats, anacondas, elephants. Just how many different animals have you worked with?
Untold. I really don't know what the number would be. I can tell you that we've worked with wolves and wolf dogs, which, you know, there seems to be a fear about them, but once you learn about them, there's, you know, you have to be cautious, but you don't have to have that great fear. Certainly we have the tortoises that are here in Florida, and you really kind of get an idea. And iguanas, now we are having some cold weather, and you know, iguanas fall out of their trees in cold weather. They're not dead. Just leave them. As soon as it starts to warm up, they will warm up and they will start being what they should be. But it's been a tremendous amount of animals in 9 years. I don't think I could put a number on it. But we also have additional animals at Donte's Den. We are a sanctuary for animals. We just choose to prioritize our efforts on the dogs for sure, and then cats. But we also have a herd of miniature Holstein that I rescued. I had, 7 years ago, I had 1 bull and 5 females. And now I have 21 in my herd. And we love each one has their name, and each one stays with us. We don't sell them. We don't do anything other than just really, really love them. And, you know, once they trust us, and they all do, we feed, they get their feed, they get their hay, they get everything, the nutrients that they should have, but they all love vanilla wafers. So we always have boxes of vanilla wafers, and we have a miniature donkey named Hee Haw. And she was very, very abused and extremely neglected. when I got her. I went to get her, and that was the only way I could get her to come to me, was to give her vanilla wafers, and she began to trust me. And that took about a year and a half for her to do that. Now she doesn't miss a time that I go around, and she wants her vanilla wafers. And that's how you build a sanctuary.
So, in building your sanctuary with all the different animals, did you have to receive any kind of special training for them, or is this something that just all came natural to you? Because I'm sure you didn't go anywhere and they're like, "Hey, try the vanilla wafers." Is there something that you tried?
Kind of comes from the heart and a little bit of desperation, because you want to see her happy. And I knew that I had to make her happy. And I tried a number of things, apples and carrots and that. She didn't want any of that, but she wanted those cookies. As far as training, we do have vet techs. I'm a vet tech. And so that's, of course, is very, very helpful because, I've always said that our dogs don't get sick during the day from 8 to 5. They get sick 5 p.m. and after. And that's when we really kind of go into action and take care of them. So as far as training goes, we have ongoing training for the kennel techs. How do you handle a dog? Yes, they should know the simple obedience, training tips, and so on. But as I said to you, we have dens. We have no cages at Donte's den, so they have a lot of room to move in. Well, there's a way to get into the den and a way to get out of the den. And how do you handle the dog? How do you leash the dog? How do you get them to walk with you? And we sometimes have some aggressive dogs. And when we have aggressive dogs, then we have 2 trainers. And both of them are AKC trainers. They've gone through all of the programs, but they were training way before that, but we wanted to become an AKC facility. So we put our trainers through that, and then we passed certain criteria for AKC, and now we are an AKC facility. So there's ongoing training. That's really where I'm getting to. There's ongoing, but you've heard of OJT, on the job training. That's what you get. Right. That's what you do every day.
Scenarios, no 2 scenarios are the same, right?
You never know what you're going to meet up with, and you have to approach the dogs every morning. Now we're a 24/7 facility. There's somebody with the dogs at all times through the night and everything. But sometimes some of them get up on the wrong side of the bed, so as to speak. And so you have to be aware. You just don't come plowing into the den and, here I am. They don't much care. So we're very, very cautious. We train our people all the time. Of course, you have staff meetings so that you can exchange ideas and things that were happening, and and then of course all the things that go right. Oh, did you see Sandy did this, or did you see Kilo did this? And we of course get all very excited when everything goes well.
That obviously sounds like you've got a lot going on. Like you said, you're managing Donte's Den, you've got Animal Outtakes, all the different animals, and clearly your work is cut out for you where you've got going on over there. But do you have any plans to maybe expand Donte's Den, or is this a program that you'd want to see in different states or other areas?
I would love to see it in a couple of other states. We are looking in Minnesota right now to see if this is something that is doable. But I believe in doing a job well, and the job well done has got to be in Mayaca, Florida, where we are located. As far as expansion, oh yes, yeah, we're talking about expansion right now. We're sitting down with our builder, and we're telling him everything that we want, and he's working with us to make that happen.
Okay. Do you guys bring home to other states as well, or just in Florida, like when someone's interested in adoption?
Oh, well, due to the show, we get inquiries and people who sign up for lifetime care from all over the United States, because the show became nationally syndicated within the first 6 months of production. So we're seen in every state. Where, I really can't tell you, but we are in every major market. I do know that. And sometimes I can kind of tell from where the people are calling. So we don't care. We don't care where you come from. We just care if you're the right parent for that dog.
Look, Marsha, you're living the dream, I'm telling you. Okay, so how many dogs are able to stay at the facility at a time? Because I know you said you guys are full right now. So what's that number looking like?
The capacity that we have is 100.
Okay.
Yeah. And we never take anything more than that because there's a certain ratio of techs to the dogs, because we don't just come in there and scrub a floor and adios, we'll see you at 3 o'clock when we give you your next feeding. We play with the dogs. Our kennel techs go in, they sit down. A lot of them read to the dogs. They fall asleep on their lap. We're not quite sure that they understand the story that's being read, but they seem to like it. It's soothing. We have one dog, we have an Akita named Jewel. She's marvelous. And she came to us during one of our hurricanes. Somebody was afraid that something would happen to her, and they never came back for her. We tried to find her owners, but we just couldn't find it. But we since learned that she's a sweetie and she loves to be brushed. So we have a number of techs that actually take turns brushing her, because an hour of brushing doesn't make it. So we just keep doing it, and she just loves it, just absolutely loves it.
Look, I bet your wait list is a mile long for
Yeah,
people.
we have a number of people, for the lifetime care
Mhm.
program, and for Semper Paw, we have a certain amount of dens that are allocated, because sometimes the soldiers get very little notice that they're being deployed. For example, right now we're watching deployment into perhaps Russia, Ukraine, wherever. We're already ready, because we've been receiving a tremendous amount of phone calls. These people will be moving fast. And so we have to have facilities available for them, and we do.
Do you guys accept volunteers or anybody to come help out with the facility, or is it only staff members?
We are staff oriented. And the reason we are staff oriented is that volunteers, their heart is in the right place, and we love them. We really, really do. But when you're operating with 100 dogs, you
Mhm.
need to know that X amount of people are going to be there at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You know, people have to show up, and we know that volunteers, things happen, life happens, and they have very, very good values, and they want to help. But if something happens, they have to take care of that before they come to us. Well, we have to have our dogs taken care of. The dogs come first. That's been our mantra since we opened. The dogs come first.
Right.
I designed the facility for the dogs. Everything is for the dogs. So that's why we normally work staff only.
And speaking of for the dogs, I'm sure since opening in 2014, you've had so many come through, but do you have a most memorable story about a dog that came through at Dante's Den? Just one that really touches your heart. I'm sure they all do.
There's so many, we cry at Dante's Den. We cry when they come in, because we so many times cannot believe what these dogs have gone through. And it's heartbreaking. And then of course we take care of them, and then we let them go. Either they go back to their owner in the lifetime care program, or in adoption, they get adopted out. When you ask if there is one dog that stands out, yeah, my own, that we named Dante's Den after. And my Donte was a PhD in fur. And I watched him. He had a very short life. He was a standard schnauzer, and he passed at 5 years. And I watched him. I watched the intelligence. I watched the compassion. I mean, this dog was almost human-like. I mean, I could turn my back and I could be talking to him and say, Dante, go into the kitchen, do this, do that. And he would do exactly what I wanted him to do. And I know that that sounds self-serving, but it really isn't, because Dante is the one who paved the way for all the many that we have had and the many that we're going to take care of. So yeah, he's still my favorite.
That's beautiful. Okay, so we've got our good and our beautiful story. Now I want to know, do you have one funniest animal outtake story, just something that really takes the cake that you want everyone to see? What's your funniest animal outtake story?
Well, we've had a few. uh, Most of the time, it's me stumbling over words. We film for long periods of time. We start early in the morning and we're still filming at maybe 6, 7 o'clock at night. And my wonderful, and she is, I just love her, Michelle Silliman, who is my videographer and my editor and my writer. 2 people put that show together every week. It's Michelle Silliman who carries, she does the heavy lifting, and Marsha, who shows up. But we're both putting our ideas together. There's 2 that kind of come to mind. For some reason, birds, macaws, parrots, and they love me. I don't know. I don't know why.
We'll have to do a separate episode on the investigation to why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why, but they'll start at the end of my arm and they'll start walking up.
Yeah.
Well, of course, they get tangled up in my hair, and my hair is usually very heavily sprayed, because most of the stories we do are outside. And of course,
You're in
what
that
happens to
Florida
these
humidity.
parrots, they're trying to get out from underneath the hair, and there goes the hair. It's not funny when you're talking about it, but boy, when you see it, it is very, very funny. And the other one that comes to mind is we did a show on wolf dogs and wolves. And that's amazing. I mean, when you see these creatures, especially the wolf dogs, and that there's a lot of people who own wolf dogs. You need to know what you're doing if you're going to own one, but they are magnificent. But I was petting a wolf dog, and Michelle was to my right, and I was petting her, and she just kind of seemed like she really, really liked it. And then all of a sudden she reared up, and that was it. She was coming after me. And I sacrificed Michelle. I said, ooh, keep rolling, as I headed out the cage. And she did. She kept rolling. The wolf dog did not bother her in any way, but she was barking and snarling. And, that's typical in television.
Right.
Keep rolling, don't stop, keep rolling. So Michelle took one for the team.
Well, shout out to Michelle. I know you mentioned her a few times, but we're glad, she's able to help you make Animal Outtakes be what it is. That's great.
Without her, the show would not go on, truly. And, she is a former reporter and anchor. And, we know, she knows, we know how to get the scenes that we want. And she's absolutely terrific. Couldn't do it without her, that's for sure.
Hey, and look, I want to say we couldn't do Welcome Home Doggy without people like you. So we're so grateful to have you here on the show with us today, Marsha. Thank you.
It's been my total pleasure. Thank you.
And I just want to let everyone know, if you want to know more about our show, Welcome Home Doggy, or where to see Marsha on Animal Outtakes or Dante's Den, be sure to visit our website. Also, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram. I'm your host, Ariana Lasha, and this has been Welcome Home Doggy.
I need a vacation. Life is exhausting. I want to relax and enjoy some me time. Then Dante's Den is the perfect place for your vacay stay. Spacious air-conditioned dens, plenty of room to exercise and run, and a pool to swim in. Whether it be an overnight stay, short or long-term, Dante's Den is waiting for you. For more information, visit dantesden.org. Ah, my land shark in the water!